Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto, Willies. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willies, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the Northeast Texas, Southeast Texas, Northwest Louisiana, Southwest Louisiana, and to every nook and cranny receiving the signals from our 100,000 watt transmitter into those magical boxes known as radio, aka the Howard Reynolds machines. Anyway, folks, we're going to have a great show for you today. And of course, buenos dias to the entire world who are receiving our signals from the internet, formerly known as the ARPANET, created by you, we the people, created by and funded by you, your tax dollars, your intellect, and everything else. Now, because of the current economic system that we have, not under your full control, and something now that you can be lucky to just use if you pay for. Anyhow, folks, without any further ado, let's go to the studio. El estudio. Buenos dias, mis hermanos. Good morning to Howard Reynolds and Jacques Van Beba.
Howard, where are you? Howard's not here. Good morning, Egberto. How are you doing?
I am doing fine, my brother. Talk to me.
Okay, well, senior citizens rely on policies like Social Security and Medicare. We need our government to protect seniors that have given so much to this country. They deserve a strong social safety net. We need progressive policies that will improve senior care, fix their teeth, treat their hearing loss, give them glasses. They sacrifice their health and well-being in many ways to take care of their families, the families that built this country. America promised to take care of them. Keep your promise to the citizens. We need a president, not a vampire capitalist that's going to allow the insurance companies, to profit off of a senior's illness and misery. Get out there and vote. Get out there and vote these people out and vote the right ones in.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. You know, that vampire capitalism I think you're the ones that kind of stopped me from using. I don't remember what I used to use as a prefix. Vulture. You said, nah. It's not vulture. You have to call it what it is, vampire.
You don't want to insult no vultures around here.
Right. You said you want it's sucking the blood. But look, before we get started, we got a great program for you today. But let's make Sandy's day. Because if we make Sandy's day, we make KPFT's quarter. Okay, so my brothers and sisters, and Tag, I'm coming to you in a second, and then we have a great program. We have a very important video to play as well. But here is the deal, my brothers and my sisters. If you have never, first of all, for the program today, you're going to see why a KPFT is so important. Because that topic that Brother Van Bever started with regards to Social Security, etc. There's so much that people don't know. There's so much that people don't realize until they are in the position. And the problem is that most of us are not in that position of dire straits at any one time. And because that's not the case, so many times these things fall under the rug. So we're going to start there. But beforehand, I'd like to ask you so kindly, folks, we're a few $1,000s away from our goal. I think if I understood Sandy correctly, about $17,000 or so away from our goal. And we only have 2 days to raise $17,000. I would like Politics Done Right, those of you that are listening to Politics Done Right, to do our part. We are on every single morning at 6 a.m. We have quite a few hours on the air here, folks. So, I would like us this morning to at least bring in 500. Boy, 1,000 would be great. If you have deep pockets right now and you see the value that we provide and you were, I don't want to say you were blessed. I don't like to say when people have been successful in doing something, I don't like to say they're blessed because they work hard. You work hard for your money. I'm not talking about the plutocrats. I'm not talking about the oligarchs. I'm not talking about the billionaires who made their monies on your back. I'm talking about that baker that gets up every morning at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock to make sure that those kolaches are ready in the morning, and he gets the fruit of his labor. That grocery store owner who makes sure and get those esoteric things that you want, and they find for you from around the world, and you can go to that one store and get it. That's a service they're giving you. They've earned their profits. I'm talking for that person who owns that abarroteria that serves the community, that convenience store that's serving the community, and it's there day in and day out, day in and day out. That private store that, he gives a service and he gets his profit. Great thing. If you are blessed in being able to, because of the structure of America, have been able to grow yourself into something financially successful, I ask you, give us what you can, support what we do. We are doing this also for you, because a healthy middle class, a person that has Social Security at the end of their working life, a person that even is on welfare because their bodies don't they don't have the wherewithal to work at this time. Somebody that is disabled that's getting support from our government, from we the people. They are also contributing to our economy because they're buying from you. They're supporting you. Some would have you believe that these guys at the top are the makers. These guys are the top, are the ones who make things happen. No. You are. Whenever you go to that store and you spend $1, you are making our economy run. And there was a time during the pandemic when the plutocrats really finally realized that for a few minutes, they realized that, oh my God, if these people are not in the economy, we're shot. I mean, if we were to go back and grow our own food and go back and do all these things on an individual basis, all these plutocrats that make their monies on the back of others, it's over. So look, what I'm saying, folks, is we give the appropriate perspective. We give the appropriate honor to you. And many of us don't realize what our true worth is, what we are worthy of. And because of that, we've allowed both our political system and those who run our economic system to deny us that which is ours. And one of the tenets of this program, and it's an altruistic tenet, if you will, but it is one that would inform us in such a manner that all of us would realize, first, we're not really individualists. We're really a collective. We really depend on each other, whether people want to accept it or not. Bezos cannot exist without you. Elon Musk cannot exist without you. Nobody is an individualist. They may want to think they are, but nobody is. So if you want us making sure that all of us know this message so that we can collectively and elect the appropriate people that will lend us the opportunity for this reality, supporting a KPFT is essential. Go ahead and start with Brother Tag. Tag, how you doing this morning, sir?
Good, Egberto. How about you?
I'm doing fine. Talk to me.
Well, I just think that today and tomorrow people should be able to donate to KPFT with the assurance that we're going to have another 4 years of growth and sustainability in America. And I don't think we're going to go backwards and have austerity and a lot of division. And I think that's a good thing for all of us. And the only thing that's really sad about this whole scenario is that we aren't going to have a duopoly anymore in our government. What's the other side going to do now? And And so I think our side is the Democrats are going to, do real well, but there isn't really another voice out there that we need to have a second voice in our political system. And, the old Republicans are gone. The new Republicans, I don't think are going to survive very long. And who's going to be there? That's my question going forward. But congratulations to KPFT.
Thank you, my brother. I think that's an important thing. I want Republicans. I say that from the depths of my heart. I want serious Republicans out there with policies that differ from mine so that we can hammer things out. Anybody, look, the gene pool, right? If you get everything bland and the same, people get lazy. People the system just doesn't work. You need diversity. Every type of diversity possible. Diversity politically, diversity in everything. You don't need anything that just great homogeneity. You don't need that. And actually, homogeneity is a wrong word because that is mixing two things in. But the bottom line is this. We need, and I have a lot of Republican friends, and they will be back. As soon as this fever breaks, we've been trying to break this fever since Obama. Okay. But the fever tag will break. Look, Liz Cheney ain't no progressive. Yes, she's supporting Kamala. But after that, the war is, I call it the war, but I'm talking about benevolent war. It's going to be on. The battle of ideas are going to be on. I am going to be wanted. I'm going to be bleeding heart. And when I say I am talking about progressives are going to be bleeding hearts as we are. And we will have our conservative brothers and sisters saying, hey, ho, ho, ho. Look, I've taken conservative ideas, realizing that certain things that we do as progressives, kind of has some issues with it. And that's what we need. We need all sides of the coin. But we don't need the crazy things that MAGA promotes. That is something we don't need. And you're absolutely right, Tag. It's not going to be a monopoly. I prefer it not even to be a duopoly. I want it to be a monopoly. What is a monopoly? I forget what the word is for that. I want to have a lot of different parties. Sure. You know what I mean, right? I want a lot of viable parties because look, the best thing that occurs is when we sit down and have dialogue with all kind of folks, and you disagree here, and it's like after a while you disagree, and then the other person makes so much sense. You say, well, hell, I'm gonna steal your idea. I agree with that. And that's that makes for the best country. And that is where we were heading. Tag, that is where we're heading. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Egberto, who can argue with not taxing Social Security or not taxing tips? I mean, that's a great idea. But we need to have people in Washington that are willing to go ahead and do that, not just talk about it. And I think going forward, that's what we're going to have. I think we've got a lot of the old Republicans who have learned a lot and are going to do something new and better for us all. So with that, I'm going to pass, Egberto.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Tag. I'm going to take Ray, and then I'm going to play my video, and then from that, we'll take the rest of the calls. But folks, give us a call, 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate. Let's go to Ray, 713-526-5738. Please, folks, we need your calls right now. Ray, come on in, my brother.
Yeah, Brother Egberto, top of the morning to you. I wanted to share a story with you today. I know we're going to have a lot of callers, so I'm going to try to keep it brief. But as we get nearer to the election, I kind of had a moment to address some of my colleagues that I work with about the importance of this election. And one of the things that I shouted out, at the loudest, and I looked at everybody in the room, and I said, no matter who you think you are, right now, you might think they're not talking about you, but don't believe that. Just believe that once they finish othering somebody else, it's going to come around to you. Believe what I say. And after I had this speech, that person who I've been very, very verbal with, she's one of she kind of reminds me of your sister. She leans very heavily on her Christian faith and saying, what really, grinds my gears about her and people who think like her in the aggregate is that it doesn't matter what happens at the political level because God has control of all of it. And I feel like, to me, that's a derelict of duty of your duty as a human being on this planet and this society. That's a derelict of duty. See, I feel like this every time. And when she said that, we had we pretty much got into what you would call a verbal fisticuffs. And I just kept hitting her with the same scripture. Faith without works is dead. And as long as we don't do the work here, your faith is dead, because the world that you want to believe. And you know what she told me? She told me, I just don't believe in everything that Kamala believes. I don't believe that transgender people should be able to influence my child, because that's the devil trying to influence my child. I'm like, oh my God. So you're one of those people. So you rather live under the rule of Project 2025 as long as you can shield your precious child who you think is going to live a good life, because you don't want them to see transgender people. It made me sick to my stomach. And yeah, I did want her to feel every bit of that. I wasn't talking to her, but if the shoe fits, yeah, I'm Payless. Your rebuttal?
Let me tell you, first of all, look, you have to front these people civilly, of course, but you have to front them because, they've been played with. Those ads that you see on TV about transgender and all of that. First of all, that is a very, very small occurrence of anything out here, but they make it big because they want to attack the feeble mind. They want to, and it's only the feeble mind that works with. But if you get enough feeble-minded people, then it works. So our job is to empower the feeble-minded and change them from feeble-minded to strong-minded. Ray, by the way, I want to say it was great having you at Ask Egberto Everything on Saturday. That was a great Ask Egberto Anything, and you had a whole lot of great input. But look, I have to go play my video before I answer the next 3 calls. So anything else you have to say? And by the way, I got to get in touch with you. I need your help in a project we're doing on the weekend, but we'll be in touch. All right?
Hey, you got my email and my number, so
I got it, brother. Thank you so kindly. You have a wonderful rest of your day, Brother Ray. Hey, callers, hold on just a minute. Welcome to another edition of Politics and Run. I'm Egberto, Willies, your host. Today, we are honored to have once again Dr. Donna Kim Murphy. She's a neuroscientist, neurologist, community organizer, historian of science, race, immigration, poverty, and health. She's also the founder of Prognosis. And I tell you what, welcome to Politics Done Right. Donna, how are you doing today?
Great. It's good to be back. Thanks for having me again.
Well, look, first of all, before we get started into the nitty-gritty of what we want to talk about, tell me a little bit about this new company that you have called Prognosis, but it's spelled not I-S, but U-S. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah. And kind of our motto is basically that the journey with dementia is much easier with us together than I alone. And we kind of have built the company around the idea that community is really central to navigating this illness, which is fundamentally an illness that impacts not just the person living with the disease or the condition, but the family around them. And that can be biological family or chosen family, but it becomes a responsibility of other people because the people living with the disease actually become more and more dependent. They cannot live independently as the disease advances. We also are interested in the racialized health disparities in the disease because we have twice the incidence in people who are African American and 1.5 times the incidence in people who are Latino. It is Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month in November. It is also, interestingly, National Family Caregivers Month in November. And those two things are very much related in this condition of dementia, not just Alzheimer's, which is the most common kind of dementia, but in all of the other kinds of dementia as well. And beyond the disparities that we see in incidence, I just want to mention, because I am Korean American myself, that there are disparities that we see because of language access issues, immigration status issues, other kinds of things that other marginalized or minoritized populations face in terms of access to resources that are culturally fluent, that are language specific, that are safe to access for these other communities.
It's interesting because over the last several weeks, because, we're in this period of time where you have to select Medicare. It's time to switch over from Medicare to Medicare Advantage or vice versa or whatever you want to do. And I have been pointing out to a whole lot of people the dangers of Medicare Advantage and why they shouldn't follow folks trying to get them to leave their good Medicare Advantage with a good Medigap program to go into these private things. Now, the reason I brought that up to tie into what you do as far as healthcare dementia is concerned is we also know that the private sector in minimizing costs, etc., they don't treat the problems with dementia as illnesses as serious as they should.
Right.
While people that are going to the election to vote in the next day or so, they have to decide who to choose. And they have to understand that whoever they choose has a material effect, not only on themselves, but the health of their people. And if I recall, Kamala Harris has a program that fits exactly into what you've been speaking about with regards to dementia, etc. So why don't we talk about that and also relate it to the politics? Because I think it's extremely important that we do so.
Oh, I totally agree. This is why I thought it would be great to have this conversation with you specifically. So, a couple of things with Medicare. You're exactly right that right now is the opportunity, that open window of enrollment for Medicare. If you are on a Medicare Advantage plan, I actually highly recommend to caregivers who have loved ones with dementia that they consider switching to traditional Medicare or parts A and B, because there is now a program that is like an innovative program through the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, their Center for Innovation, that is called the GUIDE model. And this model actually specifically concerns itself with not just the person who has the diagnosis of dementia or who has suspected disease, but also with the person caring for them. Because as I said before, that person becomes absolutely vital to the welfare of the person who has the disease. So they recognize that and they say, look, we are going to not only pay for diagnosis and therapy, we are going to pay for care coordination, care navigation, 24/7 caregiver support. We're offering $2,500 a year of caregiver respite, which, to be honest, if you're one of the caregivers, like I'm a support caregiver to multiple people in my family, you burn through $2,500 in no time. But you know what? Something is better than nothing. And right now there is nothing. And so this new program has been rolled out as of July of this year. It's supposed to run 8 years, and then they're supposed to make an assessment as to whether, they're going to continue or expand the program. This, is under threat. Trump is always insinuating or stating explicitly that he's going to undo all kinds of, all parts of Medicare. So, yes.
Let me just say that this is not conjecture. Mike Johnson, about 4 days ago, went on and he said, when they asked about the elimination of Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, he said yes. And then he kind of corrected himself and said, we have to make major changes, but we're removing regulations, which, as you know, means pre-existing conditions, which, as you know, a program like you're talking about, throwing that into the private sector, they are going to try to make money out of dementia, which in effect prevents that person who is caring for that dementia person from getting the resources they need for the actual care.
Absolutely. And to just give people an understanding of the magnitude of this issue, which is going to touch every single one of us. We have 7 million people impacted right now with this disease. We estimate there are 2 people for every 1 person with the disease who's involved in the care of that person. That number will more than double in the United States over the next 25 years. Everybody will know somebody and will, in all likelihood, be involved in someone's care. And this disease costs for every person with the diagnosis during the course of the illness something approaching $300,000. So it cannot be handled often by the person themselves or even their families without assistance. Right now, we're having to do all kinds of, gymnastics around how do I spend down my assets or redistribute my assets in a way that allows me to qualify for Medicaid when they look back 5 years. And Yes.
That is something that bears extreme explanation here. They require you to get health care, to get the insurance from the government to lose all your assets.
Right.
Before you qualify for anything. So you have to be poverty stricken.
Right. And, in places where they haven't expanded Medicaid, right? Like it's like nearly impossible, right? This is what pays for nursing home care. Many people at the end of this disease, if they decide, right? Many families decide or that they can't or that they won't actually put their loved ones into nursing homes. And that's another challenge. But if they decide to put their loved ones into a nursing home setting, they have to qualify for Medicaid or often they cannot afford it. And to do that, you do have to basically, get rid of all of this person's assets. So, talk about the inability to have intergenerational wealth, for instance, right? Like, no, you have to get rid of all of it. And this really bankrupts individuals and their families. Women who are doing most of the care, 2/3 of the caregivers are women, about 1/3 are men. They have to quit their jobs, right? They have to, make all kinds of concessions, I think, that they wouldn't ordinarily have to make in order to care for their loved ones who are aging and have this disease. It's often the case that they're also simultaneously caring for young ones in the family. So they have these like multiple duties. They're considered the sandwich.
Both on the top and the bottom, their parents and their kids. So I think they call them sandwich generation. Yeah.
Exactly. And just thinking about how that's going to impact gender disparities across the board, economic, health disparities, right? The caregivers actually suffer tremendously in terms of their own health because they neglect themselves and having to do all of this care for a loved one who requires 24/7 supervision as the disease advances. They don't have time for themselves often. So it's a huge problem. The plan that Kamala Harris has put forward for supporting caregivers is something that has been dubbed Medicare at Home, right? Right now, if you qualify for Medicaid, which again, very few people do, especially in states like Texas, if you qualify, you may be able to receive some home-based services. Medicare does not support those services. So she wants to allow Medicare to actually cover that, right? So in-home support, which would be huge. Most of our families do actually choose to keep our loved ones at home. And that's kind of what is most desirable, I think, for the dignity of that individual.
Oh, yeah.
To stay where that is familiar to them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So she's now proposing to actually invest in that, actually, to invest public resources into Medicare, this idea of Medicare at Home that would both include those home-based services as well as, she's tackling paid leave for family caregivers so that they can actually afford to be home and to spend that time that is important to many people with their loved ones.
So look, dementia and many other chronic illnesses will affect all of us at some point in time, whether it's your parents, your kids, or yourself. That's a statement of fact. Now, here's the interesting thing, and because we need to close out now, but here's what I want to say, Donna. Politics matters. Who you vote for matters. Whether it is, and it's not solely this election. This election is extremely important that you vote your interests, that you vote your health, that you vote your personal economy. But it doesn't stop here. Texas is a state that doesn't accept the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act. Even though we pay for it, we don't get it because and our Republican legislature claimed to be fiscally responsible as they deny coverage and make many of their citizens die. So let's be very clear here. Your vote matters. And as Dr. Donna Murphy has said here, it is something that we have to work on. So, Donna, please give us a closing message. And I know this isn't supposed to be political, but I need you to be political, not only for the next election, but for subsequent elections to ensure that we start getting the resources that we deserve and that we've earned out of our government.
Yeah, I just want to say to any caregiver out there, anybody who has an aging parent now where maybe you have some suspicion that something is going on with them, this is really going to touch all of us. And we have to think about what is in the best interests of our families, right? Like political identities aside, like what is in the best interests of our families? And here, I think there is no question, right, in this case. And I have my own beef with the option that we have, right? Like on the political left, I have my own beef. And yet, I think it is absolutely critical that we support Harris in this election and in the future, people who actually state that they will protect these, this right to healthcare, at least in some fashion, right? We still have problems with it. I know you and I, Egberto, have problems with the way it's done.
Absolutely.
But it could be better. But I think here we have an opportunity with one candidate to potentially make it better. And with the other candidate, we don't have that opportunity at all. And so I think it's clear what the choice is.
Dr. Donna Kim Murphy, founder of Prognosis, as well as a community, a great community activist. I've known her for a very long time. She is essential to our community. Thank you so kindly for having been on Politics Done Right.
Thank you so much.
That was Kim, Dr. Kim Murphy. I'm going to jump to Johnny, and then we'll take on. Come on in, Johnny.
Good morning. So whether it's health care, specifically for the elderly, or whether it's primary and secondary education in this country, we see time and time again how the party of no, the GOP, they are monochromal in their worldview. They see everything in simple black and white terms. They don't like nuance. They hate nuance. They hate people being empowered. They want to take television back to black and white. They want to own and control black people. They want to own libs. Their language is violent. Their attitude is monochromal. They don't believe in diversity. You mentioned diversity earlier. That's what got me on this kick right now with what you said. And it's so true. Diversity is the key. That's the strength. And we see that in Mother Nature, and we see that with common sense solutions to the problems we have. But the GOP, the Republicans, have historically, up and including to right now, their attitude is everything is simple, just like Donald Trump. Simpletons and simple. We need complex. We need complexity. In our thought process, and we need common sense solutions. And we can't get it with them in charge. That being said, I just want you to know that when I went to vote the other day, I voted in 3 races and I left all the other ones blank out of anger and because I could do it being in a red state. So I filled in Cenk Uygur. I voted for the Green Party Railroad Commissioner, but I was generous and kind enough to vote for Colin Allred, even though he's a centrist. So that's what I did, and I hope that will be sufficient. I know Texas is not a battleground state, but according to what I've been seeing online the other day, there's some indication that Texas could turn blue. So let's cross our fingers, cross our eyes, cross whatever it is you need to cross, and tell your friends and neighbors to go to gregpalast.com and take a look at that 1 hour, 20-minute documentary. It's an eye-opener, and it tells you that the Republicans, like the guy in Georgia, the governor there, so-called governor, Brian Kemp, like I said to you over a year or two ago, that guy should have been arrested and held pending criminal trial for what he did. Look at what he did. One white guy, he destroyed the voting, tens of thousands of voting registrations, and he did not be held to account. But one poor black woman, she was encouraged to vote. And then when she voted, they sent her back to prison because technically she was on paper. And what damage did she do, really, compared to the white guy who's in the governor's mansion up in Georgia? There's no justice in this country when we see things like that.
Johnny, we're working towards justice, and as Obama and others have said, and the arc bends slowly, or something to that nature. But we'll get there. I have faith in the country, and I have faith in the American people, and I have faith specifically in American women that the election will be a surprise and it'll come out the way it should. Thank you, Johnny. We'll talk another time when we have more time to speak. But go to Harry. Come on in, Harry. I got about 90 seconds. I'm going to hold it for now. Come on in, brother.
Good morning, Egberto. Good morning. Jack, and good morning, Sandy. Good morning to KPFT, and good morning to Howard, wherever you are. Let's just keep doing everything we can to keep this show going and other shows going and keep KPFT running. I do my part like everybody else. Anyway, I've got two things I want to talk about. The first thing, when you were talking about when you interviewed, what's her name, Dr. Murphy?
Yes.
In the video you just played, what I wanted to know, what was the disease? What was the disease Dr. Murphy was talking about for the
dementia? Dementia.
Dementia. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's what I want to know. Okay, well, you answered that question. Now the other thing is, Egberto, did you look at Friday's Democracy Now?
No, I didn't. But just tell me your point, my dear brother.
Okay, well, I think when you get a chance, I think you should look at that show, because in the last 12 minutes, he had a guest on named Elliot Mustow, and he was talking about the 12th Amendment, and he was talking about what Donald Trump was talking about, a secret, and what they're going to do is when obviously you know this, and anybody wrote or has voted long enough understands how our system works, that when we vote for these electors. And then these electors, they get certified after the election is done. They're saying that on December 11th, that any swing states that Kamala Harris has won, that Mike Johnson is going to delay, and then those swing state votes won't be counted. And then they were talking about in the 12th Amendment how they can take down the amount of I can't remember exactly how many delegates the Republicans control down to 548 to 528, and then he was outlining how what would happen there is that you may not have to have 270. And so
okay, yeah, let me explain that real quick. What happens? Let me explain. Hold on a second, Harry. Let me explain real quick, because we're set for time here. What happens is there are two ways that the electors, if you reduce the total pool from the 538 or whatever that number is, the 270 times 2 plus 1, or 270 times 2 minus 1. What happens is if a state comes out, the proportion drops for the amount that you need electors for. That's not going to happen. I know what Elie Mystal is talking about. Now, the other thing is that if we don't get if we somehow prove that the election is fraudulent, or we can't prove the electors, it goes then one state, one vote. And since I think there are 26 or 27 states that are with Republican delegation, even though they don't make up a majority, then Donald Trump will win. One of the things that we have to remember here is that that Kamala is still the president of the Senate, number one, and number two, that it's a Democratic administration in power. So none of the crap they're talking about making sense. What upsets me about the media is the media sensationalizes everything. They have this thing about, suppose Donald Trump doesn't accept defeat. Who cares? He is not going to be running the transfer. Again, they give a lot of power to this one guy. It doesn't matter. We don't need to worry about whether he accepts anything or not. All we need to do is go out there and vote. If the vote says Kamala Harris wins, she will be president. Nothing more. Hey, I gotta go, Harry. Harry. It's too full. Let's go to David. Come on in, David.
Oh, thanks, Egberto. Yeah, man, I'll tell you, there's been some great calls this morning. Ray talking about, basically.
Ray is great. Harry is great. John is great. We have the best callers, the best listeners, man, including you, David. So let me hear your point.
Oh, shucks. Well, yeah, regarding the last one, over in Louisiana, Mike Johnson is up for re-election, and he's the rat that's been taking part in some of these machinations to steal the vote. And it's not just stealing the vote from Louisiana. He'd be stealing the vote from the entire country, with these machinations of how Congress would be able to give it to Trump. So, that's an interesting point. And if you know people over in Louisiana, if listeners do, make sure that Mike Johnson loses his reelection. One thing that I noticed in Texas politics, the over in Fayette County, I guess that's just west of you, over near
Northwest. Yeah.
The Democrats over there bought a billboard for Kamala Harris, and all of a sudden, after 2 days, it was taken down. And Ken Paxton, of course, he's the Attorney General of Texas, and he's a con artist and a crook. As the Attorney General of Texas, he's out there. If you go to the Attorney General's webpage, he's doing what they're calling political warfare. He's trying to manipulate Vote Blue, as if they're committing crimes. But is he putting a stop to removing billboards?
Oh, no, he's not. No, he's not. But, what I'm saying is, look, what we need to do, right? The magic here, Brother David, is just the ballot. It's just the voting booth. Everything else is noise. All the signs are noise. Pulling down a Kamala sign in Bastrop, which is a place where this occurs. I mean, there's a woman who came and said she was so happy finally to see a Kamala Harris sign in Bastrop, Texas. I ride the bike. I used to cycle in Bastrop in the park. So look, I want everybody that's listening to my voice to do this. Don't worry about any of the noise around you. Simply go into that booth and vote your interests. That's it.
No joke.
Everything else is noise. Everything else is noise. You go do your job. Go into that booth and vote, and get your friends to go vote appropriately, their interests. And if they vote their interests, we know who it could be. I can't tell you to vote for anybody. We are a public station. But I can tell you what are the things each of these candidates stand for and what's in your interest. Hey, David, I got to go to another call, brother. Thank you so kindly for calling in.
Just to wrap it up with Ray's call, Bob Dylan had a line in one of his songs, "Who are you that I should have to lie? Why should I give up my reputation just to satisfy a fool?" So, go out there and vote and make sure you do it right.
Thank you, David. Let's have a great day. So, folks, that's the magic. Go out there and vote. Everything else is noise, and your vote is private. Women, you are going to save America. Let's go to Jimmy.
Good morning, Egberto. How you doing?
How you doing, my brother? Talk to me.
Good. Tomorrow's election day, and it's very important. Senator Fetterman from Pennsylvania was on Stephen Colbert this week. He won one of his early elections by one vote. If he didn't have that one vote, he wouldn't be a senator today. So every vote counts. And also, the Houston Chronicle puts out their endorsements tomorrow morning. I urge you to take those with you. They endorse for the best person. They don't favor Democrats or Republicans. They interview candidates, and they know their record. So be sure to vote. And vote against Donald Trump. He lies all the time. He calls his opponents ugly names. He's been convicted of 34 felonies. He's unfit for the White House. And on your discussion about dementia, the Theater Southwest has a really good play on now called The Father. It's all about dementia. It's an excellent play at Theater Southwest. And anyway, I urge that. And let's see, I had one more thing. The New York Times yesterday had a big feature about signing up for Medicare or Medicare Advantage. I urge you to read that. There's a lot of good information about it. There's going to be a lot of changes next year, so I urge you to read about that and put some of that stuff on the air.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. You're a good man. Appreciate your support and appreciate you. All right, folks, let's go to Moses. How you doing, Moses?
Hi. Hello?
Hi, Moses. How you doing, my dear sister?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I am going to say this to especially our Christian and church people and all of that. When people open their mouths and say God will do it, it is because they do not understand the Bible or don't understand who God is. To say this is to nullify the 10 Commandments. God gave you his part. He said, this is what you shall do. He gave you his part, and he has his part. When he told Moses, I gave you the command, point the rod and open the way. If Moses did not do what God said, where would Israel be? So we have our part, and he gave us our part. And if we don't do it, then we are in trouble with him. And when he says, do not strengthen the hands of a wicked man who obviously promotes rebellion against the commandments of God, lying, violence, robbery, hatred, adultery, and all of this mess. When he tells us, do not, and you stand up there and you see this happening, and you hear, he have already told you, don't do it. And you go and you say, oh, God will do, and God already told you what to do. And you go and you vote for this man, and all these people are perishing, then their blood is upon your head. Because you could have done something to save them.
Moses.
Up there. And let me say this last thing.
Yes.
God is the overseer of the job he ordered men to do, to keep righteousness on the earth. And you are the worker. And he said, these are the things you will do. And if you don't do it, then I'm going to have to take another thing. Another way.
Thank you so kind.
Depend, God will do. God will. You do your part, so God can do His part.
Thank you, Moses. Thank you, Moses. Let me just add a corollary to Moses. I am not a church-going person. I'm not a Christian. I am a humanist. I believe in human beings. I believe in doing things that are right by humans. I grew up a Christian, and I can't, by the name of anything, understand what's going on with evangelical Christians who consider Trump their incarnated Jesus Christ. I just don't get it. But that is what, in a lot of times, bad leadership does to you. I don't blame the pew. I blame the pastors. I blame the leaders who, for all practical purposes, are on the take. All right, let's go to Brother Brian. Come on in, Brian.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Donna. If you pledged, well spent. Hope you get some more donations.
Thank you, brother. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Why does Donald Trump get such bad press reviews from mainstream media?
Personally, I'll just say because he does bad things. That's all I'm going to say. He does a lot of bad things. I don't know of anything. I told you yesterday, the last time you brought this subject up, I asked you, I gave you the floor, and I told you, please give me a list of good things this guy has done, because I have pages of bad things he has done, and I haven't been able to find the good things. So what are the good things that you found?
Okay. I've already told you this. Jack Johnson, he pardoned his sentence. He was a black man that brought a white woman across state lines. He commuted the sentence of a woman that was smoking a joint and got caught. Let me see. Something about legislation for black men, mostly, that their prison sentence was deemed really too long. There's a lot of things. I'm not going to go into that.
All right, I got to stop you right there for one reason, because it's amazing how you break down all these things, and you're equating blackness with criminality, right? Oh, all the things that Donald Trump has done with black people or for particular folks, it has to do with them being in the criminal justice system. What about that's such a small part of the community? That in itself is evil, because it promotes to the rest of America that somehow the only value of black folk is within the criminal justice system. But continue finding other things. What else have you found?
Okay. How about the right to try law? You heard of that one? That covers all races, creeds, and medical ability.
Okay.
You know what that was called?
No, I don't know what that is, but I don't even know if I.
Yeah, someone that has stage 4. Yeah, someone that has stage 4 cancer, they decided that they're going to help humanity, and they're going to take a drug that hasn't been tested to prolong their life. Okay? Now, the other day, he talked about, what's her name? It skips me now. that the mainstream media said Donald Trump said she should be put in front of a firing squad.
Yes,
now, if you listen
he did.
to what he said, no, he did not. If you listen to what he said, we don't want our military people to be told what to do by people that are not in the military. Okay? She wants to put our men up on the firing squad, not the other way around.
All right, here's the deal. Okay, Brian, look, I don't have the time for this kind of a discussion right now, but let me just tell you this. I have the entire transcript and I watched it live, okay? I watched it live. You're not going to spin it for me. I watched it live. But anyway, you have carte blanche on this program. We'll talk tomorrow. Let's go to Betty. Come on in, Betty.
Good morning, Alberto.
Good morning, beautiful.
I'm a Bernie girl. Yeah. I'm a Bernie girl through and through.
You're my sister then.
Bernie.
I'm a Bernie girl. I'm a Bernie guy. Go ahead.
You're a Bernie guy. But anyway, on Social Security and Medicaid, my sister that passed away in April the 19th, she got to get on Medicaid. She was a Social Security and Medicaid, thank God, for 6 and 7 years. And, Social Security, I paid in for it years and years and never drawed on it, and only my husband. But on Ray's thing about him saying about leave it, my sister, she's a Bible thumper. And she always says, I'll leave it in God's hands. And I tell her, I said, well, that's just like looking for a buried treasure, good luck with that,
All right, so, Betty, I'm running close on time. So let's talk tomorrow, but thank you so kindly, Betty. And we'll talk tomorrow. Okay, sis?
I'm going to vote. Yeah, I'm going to vote tomorrow. I'll wait for the big day and watch.
You go vote. And you give us a report as far as how it went. Okay, we'll be on air, by the way.
Hope I don't get put in jail.
You won't. You'll be fine. Let's go to Brother Jacob. Thank you, Betty. Let's go to Brother Jacob. Jacob, come on. Oh, before I need to thank Josephine. Thank you so kindly for your contribution. LJ, thank you so kindly for your contribution. And Michelle, thank you so kindly for your contribution. We're still about $400 short, folks. Let's go to Jacob. Come on in, Jacob.
Yeah. Hey, everybody that don't believe in transgender rights and all this transgender stuff is not feeble-minded. Some of us do believe in God. You don't have to. You could be what you want to do, but He's gonna show you who He is. Now, okay. I don't want my granddaughter.
Jacob,
wait, hold on.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. I interrupted. You're absolutely right, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want my granddaughter using a restroom and go past a stall and there's some whatever, that's not fully constructed, and she go past and she see that. What we going to go tell her and then mess her head up? That's what's wrong with the lefties, the extremes, those who, and the guy Ray talking about he intimidating, saying this is like he's scared to be scared. People, ain't nobody scared of him. And with the gay stuff, y'all going to see, you're charged with the company. You can be with guys show you who he is. And Moses, my answer name is Moshe. I'm a descendant. I'm Israel, and that's not in our commandments.
Okay, so, I'm running out of time now, Jacob. But I need to answer you. I'm running out of time. You can look. You can call my program anytime and have a full discussion. Right now, we're short in time, right. So let me just respond in one. Wait. Let me respond in one respect. Okay. You can live whatever life you want to live, and you can have whatever religion you want to have, and you can believe whatever you want to believe. Just don't impose it on others. Just remember that. Thank you, Jacob. We'll talk tomorrow. Gee, we got to get out of here in about 50 seconds. I'm going to ask Sandy to give it like a 15, 20-second closer, and then we'll close this baby up.
Thank you, Egberto. And my closer is this. Thank you to Daniel P., a new member who took a couple things. I can't tell what gifts he took, but he did make a significant donation, pushing us to at least the $300 goal. We still can use another $250 to make Egberto's goal this morning. So 713-526-5738, the final Monday. Tomorrow's it for Politics Done Right.
That will be your last chance to donate. Of course, you can do that after Egberto gets off the air at kpft.org or by dialing 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org and click donate. So thank you, Daniel. Thank you, LJ. Thank you, Michelle and Josephine. Thank you very much for chiming in this morning and pushing us. Michelle as well. Thank you very much for pushing us toward where we need to be. Back to you, Egberto, and thank you for what you do each and every morning, Monday to Friday. I know it's a labor of love, but it's still a job.
We got to do it. Anyway, folks, one last pitch, 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Donate as much as you can, $5 a month, $10 a month, or go to kpft.org, hit that donate button. Be sure to let them know it's for Select Politics Done Right as a program, or tell them it's Politics Done Right as a program so that it's accredited appropriately. Look, I got to get out of here. Jack, real quick, anything you need to say, real quick?
Yeah, turn Texas back blue.
Thank you, brother. Anyway, folks, my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willies. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.